Coming to you live from the greatest country in the world. Now, here's a win for the American people on a Friday, if ever there was one. Dana Perino's book is now available in paperback. That's right. Everything Will Be Okay. Life Lessons for Young Women from a Former Young Woman. The author of this book, one half of the Cable News Tag Team Champions, Dana Perino, joining us in studio. Hello.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. Yes, it is out and about for your graduates or your nieces, your granddaughters.
It's that time of year. And
Yeah.
listen, we talked about this last time when the book came out in hardcover. Guys should actually read this book.
There's a few reasons. One, there's great career advice in there for our
across the board.
gender neutral status.
Theys should read this book. It's a great book for the them.
But also, I remember when Trey Gowdy read the book, and I thought it was such a nice compliment. He said that, one, he got some ideas out of it because I talk about how people use exclamation points too much, et cetera, things like that. But he said also that as a father of a daughter who was, I think she's in law school now, and also he has supported his wife in her teaching career, that he felt like he got a lot out of it as a family member. And then he said as a manager of young women, especially because when he was in Congress, there were two young women that worked for him that apparently really liked me or something, whatever.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, I reached out to them, and it was just a little quick mentoring call, and you would not believe how people remember that and are grateful for that. And I love it too because you get to be a little bit older and experienced in your career and giving back and helping younger people realize that, one, you got to work hard, but also I want them to have less anxiety. Everybody has so much anxiety about their careers, and I tell them in the book, like, it's all going to be okay. Stop worrying so much because the worry is holding you back.
Well, you want to know what's true about this? The reason they're so appreciative of it is because you're giving them advice they can believe in, given what you've achieved in your life.
I think
this is not getting stock tips from a homeless guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's the right way. No, this is something they buy into wholeheartedly.
I didn't have connections in politics. My family didn't come from money where we were big donors or anything. I just happened to work hard. I was in the right place at the right time, and I was willing to take a risk. One of the most important things, if you are an educated American person...
Well said.
Okay.
We're allowed into Disney now. Way to go.
You just need to decide, what do you want to do? How hard do you want to work? What kind of life do you want to have? But you have to be willing to take a risk. Our country is built and grows on people willing to take a risk. And always ask yourself something President Bush told me when I left the White House and I wasn't sure what to do. I was thinking of starting my own business, but I was nervous. And he said, what is the worst thing that could happen if it doesn't work out? Like, what's the worst thing? And I was like, well, I'd probably have to join a PR firm. Okay, so that's the worst thing. And I took the risk, and it was very successful. And just as it was reaching to a point where I either needed to expand and grow the business or decide to pare it back, the 5 started.
Wow, how about it?
Yeah.
That's a heck of a story. Dana Perino's in the house.
I don't think that's a great story.
No, I like it. Why? This is why I like it, and this is why I invest in the story, is the thing you said at the start, which is about working hard. What a lot of people don't realize in this industry and any industry is we're competing against ourselves. People constantly measure their success against the success of other people around them. But the truth is, everybody's job, no matter what field you're in, is to just be the best version of you, because it'll create a market for what you do. So if you can discipline yourself to work and self-edit and apply yourself, you actually can get anywhere in this country. Like, that's the joke of the country, that when I was driving a cab that I thought we really wasted about the Obama presidency is Obama being inaugurated was so substantial to me that I pulled over my cab in front of Madison Square Garden to listen to his inaugural address, because I was like, this truly is the mountaintop moment. Where we've arrived at that moment where we can now openly say with confidence, anyone can be anything. It was our first black president. And I don't think, when I pulled away from the curb, I don't know that I was naive, but I thought like that was the end of identity politics. It was the beginning. But how funny is that?
Well, it's interesting because the election night, I was with President Bush, and it was just the two of us watching the returns as the president smoked cigars.
I love him. He's the best.
And we were watching the returns come in, and you saw as it was pretty clear that Obama was going to win, and the interviews from all across the country. We're going to go to New Orleans now. We're going to Chicago. We're going to Dallas. We're going to California. And you had African Americans crying. And the president said to me, he said, Dana, they never thought that it would happen in their lifetime. And it happened. And we are a great country. I remember that moment, all of the things that happened that night, but in that thing in particular. And when he called Obama to congratulate him.
That is amazing. And he is, such a class act, President
Yeah.
Bush.
Funny, too. You would love to interview that guy.
Oh man, I don't.
Especially off the record.
If only I knew. If only I knew somebody who knew him. Bush. My fascination with him obviously comes back to the first pitch in the 2001 World Series.
It's a great story.
I was in the stadium for that game.
Oh.
My brother was on the field as a city cop in that unit.
Okay.
And what was so fascinating, I had the kind of seats where you asked the guy flying the blimp what the score was.
Yeah.
He had a better view than I did. But I'll never forget the magnitude and the power of that moment in that sports unified the country. And what a lot of people forget is that first pitch was thrown in the aftermath of what up until then had been the most contentious election of our lifetime. But we put it all aside, and that's where I think the power of sport, the power of common culture and entertainment.
Well, not only that is remember the story that as he tells it right before he goes out. Derek Jeter says, "Don't bounce it or they'll boo you." And also remember this: that 41, the president's dad, was a very good baseball player.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, played at
And
Yale,
one of
right?
the things he always remembered was that his dad was great at baseball. So now you have the president of the United States with the pressure. All eyes of the world are on you.
Uh-huh.
You played a little bit of ball, but your dad played. And you have to wear a bulletproof vest. Wow. And the big jacket.
Yeah.
And you're going to throw it from the mound.
Uh-huh.
And you better not bounce it or they're going to boo you. And so if you go back and you look at the pitch, like you could go on YouTube or ESPN, I think did one of the 30 for 30 on it. And it is a great American moment. And I'm glad that's one of your best memories.
Oh, it is unbelievable. We're talking to Dana Perino, the new book, Everything Will Be Okay, Life Lessons for Young Women from a former young woman. But you stop it. You get carted buying cigarettes.
Yeah, right.
You stop it. The Bush smoking a cigar thing put such an image in my brain.
Actually, I don't. Was he? Yeah, he was smoking it. I remember one time I had to do his physical. I didn't do his physical. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I had to do the report about the physical that
it was
he
a
had
different
just
job
gotten.
back then.
Yeah.
White House press secretary was more involved back then.
So he goes to Walter Reed, he gets his physical, and then I have to tell the press all the things are like, okay, oh well, he had like a little bit of sun damage. He had he didn't have high blood pressure, but basically you kind of give the vitals, and then in the report it said occasional cigar. And I will tell you, the media was so fixated on that. They're like, does he smoke cigars? He smokes cigars. He smokes cigars. I'm like, he's like, dude, yeah, he smokes cigars.
But this is where our politics were back then. They didn't have as much content.
Well, also, I have to say that it's very interesting to me to think about how different my tenure would have been if there had been social media that was really active at the time. When I left the White House in January of 2009, I didn't even have a Twitter account.
That's fascinating.
Or Facebook account. I didn't care about any of that stuff.
No, nobody did.
And I do think that social media has completely changed
Me
the way
too.
communications happens in the White House.
And I don't think for the better either.
No.
Because I think it's accelerated the pace of everything. And I don't think it's really weird how we just don't have a memory anymore because of it. And there are so many instances. A good example would be this White House event today. It's being called a super spreader because Pelosi, obviously had COVID.
Kissed the president.
Which the explanation for why that's okay is kind of laughable.
Yeah, it's not 15 minutes. Although Dr. Mark Siegel just said on America's Newsroom that guidance is outdated because when Omicron came on the scene, remember how much more contagious
more
that
transmissible,
was?
yeah, stickier.
Yeah, so it's like that CDC guidance is old.
Wow, yeah, think about that.
So,
but she went with it was it was just a kiss. I mean, in what world, would we take any of that seriously? But it's funny because, a lot of people don't remember, without us pointing it out, that there was a particular amount of outrage directed towards the previous White House when they held their event. And the justification here is that, there weren't vaccines then, but we're all vaccinated. I am, but the vaccine certainly isn't stopping anyone from contracting the virus.
Right, but hopefully it is keeping people from getting very ill or hospitalized,
sure.
and maybe that is something that Nancy Pelosi can say. Apparently, she's asymptomatic, so I guess that's a good thing. But I think Kamala Harris is like impervious to COVID. Do you know how many exposures she's had, and she's never gotten it?
Yeah, she's got
including her husband had it.
That is true.
She never tested positive.
Wow.
If you were Kamala Harris, wouldn't you kind of want a positive diagnosis just so you could stay home for 2 weeks?
Well, that's the problem.
And just reset and hope that nobody quits your office.
And of the one time. Well, I think that is the ultimate testament to her approval rating is not even COVID wants to be around Kamala Harris right now.
There you go.
You set it up. That was an alley-oop, Dana Perino. Come on, man. Really quick question then about other things going on in the news. Has Hemmer, is he forcing you at gunpoint to watch Tiger Woods at the Masters?
Oh my gosh, the guy won't stop. Yes, he wants me to watch it all day long. I'm like, I am busy. I do other shows. And then he said, and you should download the app. He is so into the Masters app.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have the app?
I don't have the app. But
Apparently, if you have the app, you can see multiple holes at the same time. He said, he's like, you won't believe this app.
Oh.
I said, I don't want the app.
He was up here the other day. He was in like the Tiger Woods Sunday uniform with the black pants and the red shirt. I mean, he's committed.
He is so into it.
I know.
And he told me that he's not going to watch all afternoon. Please.
Stop it. He's the guy heckling in the gallery when they hit a puck. Get in the hole. That whole thing.
He's probably going to like put his phone on Do Not Disturb.
You're not fighting Hammer between now and Sunday till somebody puts on the green jacket. Have you ever played golf?
Yeah, I actually used to play a lot with my mom.
Okay.
In Denver, we would do these like par 3 courses around,
Okay,
and
yeah.
I kind of like it, but I find it too time consuming, and I have a dog.
Yeah.
And
who wants to be out and about?
Yeah, I want to be with my family,
Yeah,
my dog, and Peter doesn't play golf, but we were looking for something to do together as a couple in the last several years that would be not golf, but something else. And I always wanted to play tennis, and so we've been taking tennis lessons and playing for about 7 years.
Wow.
And I really like it.
Wow.
I'm not going to win Wimbledon, but I'm consistently every year getting a little bit better. And I love it that also you off your phone.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what people need to realize. And I think that's the most valuable thing about this book is in addition to soaking in all those life lessons and all of that wisdom, it's time away from your phone.
Yeah.
You know, our brains, it's really funny, but I feel like in this regard, the smartphone is ironically labeled a smartphone because it's made a lot of people dumber. You know, people can't spell, nobody can, because you're always deferential to your phone. Yeah. And I always surprise myself when I'm working freehand, writing by hand as opposed to working in a computer, because when you're in a computer, your instincts are to trust the device. Whereas if you let your brain run free, you go a long way.
I have to say, though, I went to a book signing last week in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey at the Little Point Bookshop. Loved it. 5-hour line. My hand hurt so bad because it's so out of practice in terms of writing. And that muscle memory has really disappeared. One thing I think also about getting off of your phone, I've had to learn something that I've actually incorporated more recently. So when I was at the White House, we worked all the time.
Yeah.
We had BlackBerries at the time, but we always worked. And I can handle a huge amount of work, and I have ideas all day long, and it doesn't stop on a Saturday or Sunday. And I finally really had to stop myself from sending emails that came to mind to the staff because I realized it was just like too much.
Yes.
So what I do now, this is in the book actually, I open up an email and I put my ideas into one email and I save it in my drafts until Sunday around 4 p.m. And then I go back, and before I send it, I look back. I'm like, actually, that's a dumb idea. That's dumb. Oh, that's actually a good one. And then I rank them, and I call it Weekend Thoughts, take them or leave them, to the Newsroom production team. And then that's just one email. Yep. It's a much better way to do it.
It's super efficient, too. And it's actually actually from a management standpoint great because people appreciate not having to update constantly. Because that's the other challenge too. Is in addition to putting down your phone, is because we're always reachable. Even if you wanted to, sometimes you can't. So I think the lesson is to get off the grid. Basically, by the end of this book, you'll sympathize with the Unabomber. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It was great. I'm excited for the weekend. I do hope you get some time away from the golf screen. It's gonna
I have to move next week. I'm hosting Fox News Sunday. I have to work all weekend.
Oh wow! No, yeah, you're going in. All right, so you'll see plenty of Masters coverage.
I have Mitch McConnell.
Do you really?
I do.
That's a big
Did you see that the media, after they did his big interview with Jonathan Swan the other day from Axios, and Jonathan Swan's a great reporter, but the bottom line for other media covering that was that Mitch McConnell has no moral red lines.
Oh, wow.
Come on now.
Come on, man. You know what's happening? I guess it is fortunate in a way, is all of the character assassinations have gotten... We're out of them. You know what I mean? There's just no more. None of them carry any weight anymore because we've all been called everything. It's not even fun anymore. There was a time when these meant something, and it's like we all need to take a time out.
Yeah, like if somebody were to call me a hack, I'm like, well, really?
Oh, wow, way to go. Fox News, we all need a time out to just write new material. If we're all going to keep attacking each other like this, I think we owe each other like a season 2. Because I feel like we've been in season 1 overdrive since the inception of social media. So maybe we call for a moratorium.
I liked what Gutfeld said this week, that maybe Elon Musk investing in Twitter, like the best thing that he could do is take over Twitter and then delete it.
I would love that so much. Nowhere in the world is there a man who'd be better off if only he spent another 5 minutes on Twitter. Doesn't exist.
Nope.
No one's writing that country song. I lost my Twitter. Twitter, come back. It ain't going to happen, Dana Perino.
I lost my dog and
lost my dog, my car, my Twitter. It's the best. The book, Everything Will Be Okay. Life Lessons for Young Women from a former young woman. Dana Perino, I'm telling you, hell of a read. You're a hell of a hang. We'll do it again soon.
Love being here. Thank you.
Oh, you're the best.